kids of the kingdom, welcome back. First, let's start with a recap. An angel visited Mary, a woman who loved God with all her heart, to tell her that she was pregnant with a baby who would end up saving the entire world. Angels also visited Mary's fiancé Joseph, a really good guy, to tell him to stick by Mary because God had chosen him to serve as a dad to the baby. Angels had also visited Zacharias with a message that his wife Elizabeth, who also happened to be Mary's cousin, was pregnant with a child who would prepare everyone for the Savior, even though they were way too old to have children. So, it should be no surprise that today's lesson features another angel sighting. When last week's Bible story had ended, Joseph and Mary were getting married. You can find today's story in chapter 2 of the book of Luke. Now, let's pick up where we left off. At that time, Augustus Caesar was the emperor of Rome. That means that he was the boss, and he decided that everyone who lived in his empire needed to complete the census. A census is when the government counts all of the people who live under its rule. Kind of like when your teacher takes attendance at school, except a census includes whole countries. Your parents may have participated in the last census by filling out a form online, but way back during the Bible days, people had to return to their hometowns to be counted. Joseph's family was from a little town called Bethlehem, so he and a very pregnant Mary loaded up their donkey and made the long trip. When Mary and Joseph finally made it to Bethlehem, they decided to check into an inn. An inn is basically a hotel, but they had the hardest time finding a room. Because of the census, everybody was traveling, and it seemed that every single inn in the entire city was full. Finally, an innkeeper felt sorry for them and offered Mary and Joseph a place to stay. A trip from Nazareth to Bethlehem would probably take a couple of hours if you were to travel by car today, but back then it would have taken at least 4 or 5 days. And don't forget, Mary was very, very pregnant, so the innkeeper probably realized that Mary and Joseph had to be exhausted. Unfortunately, he didn't have any rooms left, so Mary and Joseph would have to stay in the innkeeper's stable, the same place where he kept his horses and cows. At some point, Mary went into labor, so later on that night, she gave birth, and Joseph named the baby Jesus. Since they didn't have a crib, Mary wrapped the baby up to keep him warm, and she placed him in a manger, a long box used to feed animals. That same night, not too far from the stable, there were some shepherds who were watching over some sheep in a field. It had been a pretty average night so far for the shepherds, that is, until an angel appeared before them. The glory of God began to shine all around them. The shepherds had never seen anything like this before, so of course they were afraid. But the angel tried to calm them down. It's okay. I'm not here to hurt or scare you. I'm here to give you some amazing news. Today, a baby was born, and not just any baby. This is the baby that's going to save the world from sin. That's right, he's staying in a stable, sleeping in a manger in Bethlehem. Go see for yourself. Suddenly, a whole bunch of angels appeared in the sky, all singing praises to God. Once the angels disappeared, the shepherds went off in search of the baby, and soon they found Mary, Joseph, and baby Jesus in the stable, just like the angel had said. After their visit, they ran off to tell everyone they could about this amazing new child. As Mary gazed lovingly at her son, she couldn't help but think about everything that had happened. It was almost unbelievable, but she thanked God for this wonderful blessing. And that is the story of Jesus' birth. Prophets had been preaching about God's promise to send someone to save the world from sin for a very long time, but I don't think anyone could have imagined that it would turn out like this. One would think that a baby this important would have been born in a palace surrounded by servants, but instead he ends up being born in a barn surrounded by animals. He didn't even have a crib. He slept in a container that was used to feed horses. And his very first visitors were some guys who watched sheep for a living. But this story is an important reminder that even if things don't happen the way that we think they should, God makes sure that they happen the way that they are supposed to. Now, the shepherds may have not had a super important job and they weren't rich, but God still chose them to be the first to hear the good news. And clearly he made the right choice, because as soon as the angels left the shepherds, they went to find the Savior. And then, once they found him, they ran off again, this time to tell everyone the good news. They just couldn't keep it to themselves. And that is what Christmas is really all about. Celebrating the arrival of Jesus Christ. So, enjoy the holidays. Enjoy your time off from school. But as you're eating Christmas cookies and watching your favorite Christmas movies and thinking of all the great presents you're going to get, don't forget to celebrate Jesus too.